I can't stand a lot of the debates, even when there are debates had. Even when there are debates had on our mainstream media, they frustrate me to no end because, they'll debate about whether Hamas is hiding somewhere or whether Israel should allow an extra truck in with food. That ends up being the debate. No, the debate actually is it's a fucking genocide. And that is it. That's the debate. If you want to have the debate, that's the debate. It's not whether one goddamn truck gets in or 100 or 1,000. And I'm not saying don't talk about that stuff. Of course, I talked about how much the pier that the U.S. is now probably going to take apart. I talked about that fake pier, that bullshit pier. So I'm not saying never talk about it, but the mainstream media, if they ever have a debate, they just stay again on these surface issues. I want to get down to core reality, talk about the reality of the reality, the deeper reality. And yet again, we have been proven right. We've been saying the number being killed by Israel is far larger. I've been saying it for months. I covered that it was likely 200,000 at least a month ago. And here we are, Lancet Medical Journal, saying we're right. And where's the goddamn mainstream media? Nowhere. Just like they always are. Nowhere. Here's another one we've been proven right about, despite being called crazy, being called conspiracy theorists. This just came out in Haaretz. I often remind people that Haaretz is an Israeli newspaper. It supports Israel. This is not an anti-Israel newspaper. They are not corrupted with anti-Israel thought, which is, I think it's fine to have anti-Israel thought, as you can tell. This is a pro-Israel newspaper. It is the kind of neoliberal. I'd say the closest equivalence is probably the New York Times of Israel. Here they are admitting what even they denied. They say IDF ordered Hannibal Directive on October 7th to prevent Hamas taking soldiers captive. The reason doesn't matter. It's morally repulsive. The reason doesn't matter. I don't care if they did it because they wanted to get home to a casserole. I don't care why they did it. The idea of you just murder everyone, innocent civilians all over the place in order to stop some hostages being taken is morally bankrupt, as we know Israel is. Documents and testimonies obtained by Haaretz reveal the Hannibal Directive, the Hannibal Operational Order, which directs the use of force to prevent soldiers being taken into captivity, was employed at 3 army facilities infiltrated by Hamas, potentially endangering civilians as well. Potentially endangering civilians. We've already seen televised interviews by Israelis who were in cars that were shot up with thousands of bullets by IDF helicopters, and one of them happened to survive. And she said other civilians were murdered in the car by the IDF. We've seen the witness test. What do you mean might have? What do you mean might have endangered civilians? A very senior IDF source confirmed to Haaretz that the Hannibal procedure was employed, adding that this was not used by the divisional commander who did give the order. This, said the source, will perhaps be established by post-war investigations. Clearly, it came from perhaps even the highest levels of Israel. I assume the highest levels. Something else that Haaretz had made fun of, which has been yet roundly reported, is that Israel knew about October 7th. They might not have known the exact date, but they knew it was going to happen. The training videos, some of them were posted online for anyone to see. Gaza is one of the most surveilled places on earth. So the idea that they didn't see the online posted videos of Hamas using hang gliders in practices is laughable, is a joke. Israel, absolutely. Even the New York Times has reported Israel knew this was going to happen. Hannibal at Erez came the command. That was the quote, the command over the radio from divisional headquarters. Dispatch a Zik or a Zeke. The Zeke is an unmanned assault drone, and the meaning of this commander was clear. Hannibal at Erez, an assault on the crossing in the base, just so that no more soldiers be taken. Such commands were given later as well. So literally over the radio, they sent commands saying, Hannibal, use Hannibal, kill everyone. It's been proven. And yet we're called conspiracy theorists. George Galloway was on Piers Morgan, and I showed the clip last week, and he brought up the Hannibal Directive. And Piers Morgan, who has been pumping out pro-Israel propaganda, said, I've never heard of that. What is that? Had no idea what the Hannibal Directive was. And this is the level of information that someone like Piers Morgan has. Information obtained by Haaretz and confirmed by the Army shows, so the IDF has admitted this, shows that throughout that morning, Hannibal procedure was employed at 2 other locations penetrated by terrorists. That's what Haaretz calls Hamas. The Re'im Army Base, where the divisional headquarters were located, and the Nahal Oz outpost in which female spotters were based. This did not prevent the kidnapping of 7 of them and the killing of 15 other spotters, as well as 38 other soldiers. Israel clearly knew October 7th was going to happen, as the New York Times reported. Israel knew nearly the exact plans, and Israel was responsible for the rise of Hamas. Netanyahu has heavily helped and funded Hamas through the years. So you guys make of that what you will.